Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Blue is the New White podcast. A little different podcast for you today. So, special episode. As most of you know, I am the West Coast region leader for the Fed Group. If you don't know what the Fed Group is, get with the program. Oh, I'm kidding. Just go to thefedgroup.com, THEFEDD group.com. And I sit down today again with the Midwest region leader, Mr. Taz Sutherland. If you didn't catch the first podcast that I did with Taz, scroll down, go back in the episode list, check it out. It's a great episode to hear Taz's story, where he comes from, and his mindset on the skilled trades. Really, really compelling stuff. But anyway, today we wanted to make the world aware of what the Fed Group is and what its involvement is in the skilled trades by breaking down the agenda for FeddCon 2022. FeddCon is the annual conference that they put on every year, and this year happens to be in my backyard, which I'm super excited about. Scottsdale, Arizona, April 25th through the 27th. So those familiar with the Fed Group obviously know the incredible value that this conference brings, but we wanted to open it up to those who might still be wondering what kind of value to expect. Not only in the food equipment space, which is what it's geared towards ultimately, but the whole skilled trade circle, because that's kind of what it's evolving into. Not only that, but we actually have a special coupon code that Rich, the leader of the Fed Group, was nice enough to allow us to use for all of the listeners of the Blue is the New White podcast. So for 10% off conference admission, just go to feddcon.com, FEDDCON.com, and use the promo code BLUE10, BLUE 10, when purchasing your tickets, and you'll get 10% off right away. And listen, you know, I feel like I need to say this, but this show isn't monetized, right? And we don't sell ads. The things that I talk about on this podcast, like the one, you know, you're about to listen to, are things that I truly believe in, oftentimes things that I really care about, and not things that I'm paid to say. I truly believe in the Fed Group and this conference, and I think that this is a wonderful group of pioneers that are going to push this industry forward, push the skilled trades forward, and we're at the ground level right now. So you don't want to miss it. There's some incredible keynote speakers, myself included, right? But way more notable people than me. So it's going to be a great time. So just tune in and learn all about what to expect from the conference that's going to change this industry forever. And more importantly, why you need to be there. All right. So enjoy. And, you know, if you like it, give us a good rating. But more than that, go to feddcon.com, get your tickets, and I will see you there, see you here in Arizona in April. All right, enjoy. Thanks. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Blue is the New White podcast. We're coming at you today with a very special episode focusing in on FeddCon 2022. I'm here with the mid-Fed star, Mr. Taz Sutherland. Those of you probably already know him if you're listening to this show. Taz, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me again. I find it high marks that I've gotten invited back again to the podcast. So thank you for having me again. I usually don't. I think it's a good thing if I get invited back for a third time. I've usually worn my welcome out after a second time. So I'm super excited to be here.
Well, that has yet to be seen. So no, I appreciate you coming back on the show, Taz, and talk with me a little bit about FeddCon. So today, I just thought that you and I would kind of let everybody know what we can expect at this year's FeddCon, obviously put on and hosted by the Fed Group, Mr. Rich Malachy. Those of you who know him, it's going to be a blast. It's out here in my backyard, right? Phoenix, Arizona. Yep. It's actually Scottsdale, Arizona. But so, you know, checkbox number one, that it's going to be beautiful weather. I can almost guarantee that. But yeah, man, I'm really excited, and you know, I just want everybody else to be as excited as I am.
No, I'm super excited. I like it. I mean, this working from home thing, it's cool not having to like all the crazy commute to the office and dealing with that monotony, but not travel, man. That wears on you a bit. And Rich says it too, and you're the same way, right? Sometimes it's nice to just get out and talk to people in the industry, break out for a minute, even in a crazy conference like we did RIFMA last year, and that was nuts. I don't know if you were as exhausted as I was when you got home, but it was still a great time. Finally, I finally ran into some people that I hadn't actually met in person, and I ran into people that I've known for years, right? And it was good to kind of be back in that swing. That's what I'm excited about FeddCon this year, right? That's like that whole feeling and that whole excitement. That's what I'm keyed up about, right? And so I've got actually, we were talking about this. So my boss is on board, and when we get a new food equipment person coming, so Walmart's going to roll in 3 deep to this conference as it stands now. So we're excited. We're coming in Walmart. The Walmart facilities team is going to come in there and represent kind of that FM perspective for the group and kind of help, be that sort of talking post and pivot point to talk through, this group is largely kind of geared towards that service industry person, right? But and I've talked about this before as an FM, I have to recognize the fact that a large percentage of the stuff that gets done in my world is done by a service technician that's actually turning that wrench at the end of the day.
Yeah,
doesn't matter how good the program is I put together, right? I need somebody who actually knows what they're doing to complete that program. And so I'm excited about FeddCon, and we've got like the agenda's up at feddcon.com. It's feddcon.com. Go there right now. You can get tickets there. The agenda's there. Got some crazy keynote speakers still coming. Rich, we're gonna leave that up. Rich is
man. We won't spoil the surprise. And I just want to echo real quick too something that you said. Being exhausted after RIFMA. Before we get into the agenda, I want to touch on that a little bit because this is something that I feel after almost every conference I go to, whether it's CEFESA or FeddCon or RIFMA, or any of these other ones, but it's such a good feeling, right? It's almost like I've exercised my mind. It's the same feeling I get, when I get home from the gym, except it's my brain that hurts and it's not, my quads, but it's true though. And that's what I love about this and FeddCon especially. I remember the first year that that Rich put it on, and I got the honor of speaking there and networking with a ton of great people. But there was just so much information. I was glued to the stage on every presentation, which was fantastic. And the takeaways were just unbelievable. And I can always gauge the worth of a conference by how bad my head hurts when it's done. Right. And how tired I am, and the head hurting in a good way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And if you remember Chris that was traveling with me at RIFMA, that was one of the guys that was with me. He still makes fun of me. He's like, I couldn't understand Taz by the time we get back to Arkansas. He completely blew his voice out, and you could hear it in my speech. I did the riff talks. Mm-hmm. I had completely blown my voice out. I was so I talked so much. We met so many people. I don't know how many miles we walked around downtown Charlotte. Right. It was amazing, but it was a good little breakout. I met so many new vendors. And so many connections are made during that. Right. And that's what it's all about, is to occasionally break out and make those connections. And so and that's what's cool about FeddCon, right? Is it's going to be that for the service technicians, right? And what I think is cool about it, and it's one of the things that attracted me to RIFMA too, right? RIFMA's pointed to a very distinct subset of like that maintenance service facilities, right? They're specifically that restaurant niche group, right? So FeddCon is that for food service industry professionals, right?
Yep.
And so that's the cool thing. It's not to dismiss anybody in the elevator industry, but they got their own party, right? And
right.
I'll probably figure out my new role. I'm probably going to end up having to figure out where that party's at as well, right? But the cool cool thing. And so I'm excited for Walmart to be coming to this thing and kind of showing up to listen to that, because I want to hear what the service techs and the managers are dealing with. And I know, and I'm sure there's plenty of them that are, man, if Walmart's going to be there, I've got a list of things I want to run down with Walmart. Cool. Let's talk about it. Right. Cause that's what that's what I do for a living, is that sort of process improvement. So identifying hurdles, getting them out of the way, and moving on with life. And I do that for customers. I do that for service companies, right? They're both working for the same problem. And that's what I love about these conferences. Did I freeze up? Did you lose me?
No, you're good. You're good.
I think somebody stepped on the Wi-Fi wire out back. So
The Wi-Fi
like
wire.
that.
It's
Nice. Yeah. We don't have real Wi-Fi out here. It's an actual wire. Somebody got put in.
Well, I'm gonna stop my video on this end. Our audience won't see it because I got another camera over here. So we'll speed up your connection a little bit over there in Arkansas. And
Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right. So let's jump into this agenda a little bit, Taz. I know there's some stuff that Rich is gonna want to reveal himself, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that there's some stuff that you and I are both doing there. You're leading a panel, right, on the first day.
Yep. First day, the panel there, I get the complete anxiety driven thing of being the first panel moderator. Right. And so, no, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So it's going to be the content creation and how to leverage it for your business. And so one of the things, and I always tell this story, this is how I found Rich. I was looking for videos for a certain reason for something I was doing for Walmart, and I found that content and it lured me in. Right. I wouldn't be part of this if it hadn't been for this one video, and I can take you that video anytime you want to see it. Right. So like talking about that importance and talking that, and we're going to panel of individuals talking about that. And you even hear Rich talking about that, right? He's like, some people don't want to be on TikTok or on Facebook, and that's fine. You don't have to be on camera, but there's ways to use that stuff to your advantage still. Even if you don't want to be that on camera person, there's still plenty of ways to kind of leverage that message out without being do you got 5 minutes to talk about your extended car warranty kind of person? And so I think that's going to be like a super cool panel to really kick off the entire conference. So I'm super stoked about that. And right with what do you got there? Disruptor session.
Yeah. So I'm up after you, which thank goodness I'm not going first. I really appreciate you falling on that sword for me, buddy. Yeah. No, I'm excited about it. So this is one of my 2 sessions, and I know you've got another panel in there too. But this is I really wanted to talk about how to attract the best labor during this whole shortage that we're seeing, because as anybody in the industry knows, right, there's been a shortage of technicians for quite some time, and that was just completely propelled in 2020, 2021. What we're seeing now, every single service company is having the same struggles, and I've dedicated so much time, right? And you'll know this, Taz, from all the conversations that we've had and what you know about me, but I've dedicated so much time, even well before the pandemic, to, attracting labor, getting new blood into the service industry, and, just kind of unveiling the benefits that exist and really trying to put our industry up on a pedestal. Right. So anyway, in 2021, this past year, it paid off because somehow we actually grew our team by 30%,
Nice.
By actual head count, which most of which were technicians. And so our turnover rate is down, our growth rate is up, and our average tenure is just is continuing to go up and up and up. So, I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of get in front of everybody and, whether it works for them or not, just kind of share what I've done and what we've done here at Windy City to combat this and find success with it. and I'm not going to give everything away here. Obviously, you guys gotta come to FeddCon to see that.
Gotta get a ticket.
But I do have some. That's right. You gotta get a ticket. But I do have some real, actionable, tangible steps that you can take and implement into your business today. Exactly what I did to hopefully see the same type of success.
Yep. Yeah, and what I think is awesome about that, right? And in fact, it's almost the irony about this. I've had this conversation over the last 6 months several times. Everything that's happened over the last 2 years is going to start being these crazy case studies for universities and higher learnings and all this craziness on what happened in the pandemic and who reacted to what and what happened with retailers and service industries. And, how did strawberries get from here to there? And just, what I'm saying? There's going to be all these crazy white papers and stories and all this. And it's funny because you're the guy that's like the alternative to college, right? College isn't a bad thing, but if it's not for you, come talk to me, right? Like come to me. I have options. Like, let's talk about if you don't think college is for you, right? And here's a successful case of that. And I come listen to Josh talk about how even in this pandemic, we can pump our numbers by 30% and still thrive and survive and get through this. Those are going to be case studies for years to come by major universities and learnings. And it's so funny to me because it's blue is the new white, right? You've got these major universities that are like, you can't do anything without a college degree. Now this blue collar guy is going to be like, it's going to be the marked study coming in the near future, right? And if you're at FeddCon, you get to be part of these like opening dialogue. This stuff is going to be a conversation. Like this is going to be talked about for years. People are going to be like, do you remember back in 2020 when we had to do, you remember in 2021 when we had to do this? These are those marked years when people remember, smells and visions and sights from those years.
Absolutely.
I couldn't tell you. I can tell you where I went on vacation in 2016. I can't tell you anything else about that year. There was nothing else remarkable to me about that year, right? I can almost tell you day by day March, of last year, right? So
yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. And you're right. And we're at the pinnacle now too, where I think that with FeddCon on the horizon and people being able to come out there and experience that, it's going to be kind of wrapped into this, right? It's all from this 2020 to 2022 era with this with the length of the pandemic. So these are the years that we remember, and like you said, the years that people are going to be writing white papers on, and hey, this happened here, this happened there. So what a great opportunity to gain real time knowledge. From a lot of people that have lived it and lived through it.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be like, it's going to be great. It's going to be great stuff. And we get to be like, as far as this, like the food service industry, like the Rich Malakis of the world are the foundational kickoff of that. And me and you and guys like you we're at the kickoff at it, right? We're at the 50-yard line. Like we're ready to go. And so it's a great time.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. And then, he's got some other great speakers coming, probably a little bit more known than you and I, Taz. That's not to take anything away from us, but these guys are big time, right? Ryan McCarty.
I got what I like to call a 30-minute audience, right? Like people are like, I could listen to that guy for about 30 minutes. After that, I'm unless he's bringing out alcohol, I'm good, right?
That's so. It's funny you mentioned that because I actually went to Rich and I said, hey man, I don't know if I want to speak for an hour. I don't think anybody wants to hear that. Can I have 2 30-minute sessions instead? That's funny because I'm right there with you. But people like Ryan McCarty. Of course, if you go to FeddCon.com and go to the agenda, you can see their previews, right? Their videos that they put out. But this guy, talking all about culture, which is a hot topic around the industry, right? You and I have had a lot of conversations about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been, and what's crazy is that he wrote that, like that, like his stuff about the culture, he's actually been on that for a while, right? Like it's
Mhm.
not a new thing to him. And culture, of course, has always been a big thing. But if you read anything, like the big hot topic lately has been the great resignation, right? Like
Yep.
all these people are bailing on their companies and all that. I've seen it at Walmart. I'm dealing with it. I got so many people that just finally on my team was like, you know what? This is the year I'm done with this. And they walk, right? Or somebody across the street says, look, I can't pay you more, but I can pay you the same. And they're like, you know what? I think I want to stare at their walls for a while instead of Walmart's. You know,
Yeah.
they're just done with it, and they've resigned to try anything different. And a big part of that ends up being a lot of times culture, right? Like if you're in a culture situation that's toxic or it's just not fitting with you, used to it was you dealt with it. Like you had bills to pay and it was uncertain, and you like it's crazy just to quit a job with nothing being lined up. And now, no, people are like, well, I'll take less if the culture's great. And like that's crazy to a guy like me that's from the 80s, but when you think about it, it's like, is it crazy? Like we always preach that, right? About is it, don't let it be about the almighty dollar. You need to be happy. But then here I am chasing the almighty dollar day in and out. So I'm like, who's the fool here, right? So and Ryan's stuff's really good, but that's the culture of good, and the cultural base is what will, like a lot of these companies that end up saving themselves on the backside of something like a pandemic are the ones when you go back and look, you're like, look, it was the culture. Yep. The CEO during the time, the CFO, the COO, the VP of trust and love, whatever it was, right? Basically said, look, we're going to get through this. If I have to take a pay cut to do it, or if I have to wear an orange shirt to work on Wednesday, whatever, they don't care. Whatever has to move that needle. So it's going to be awesome. Right?
It is. It's going to be really, really good. And this culture thing is something that comes up in the skilled trades a lot, right? Yep. Especially there's a lot of companies that are, of a different mindset, and, the culture of good hasn't been fully adopted in the blue collar trades yet. It's getting there. Don't get me wrong, but it hasn't gotten there yet. And I'm super excited about this because I've been on both ends, right? I've had examples in my company where, we've had some cultural wins that just feel so good, right? And you're like, wow, this person, came to me and said that they were offered $3 more an hour somewhere else, and they decided to stay because they love it here. That's what every business owner wants to hear, right? But then you have some of the cultural wins or losses, rather, that make you look in the mirror and, when somebody leaves and says, you know what, I'm actually leaving for less money because my manager here just doesn't listen to me, and it's the stuff that, I wish I could hear the Ryan McCartys of the world all the time, in all these different situations, and I didn't have to learn from experience.
Right.
But,
absolutely.
But, we've all been there. And so I'm really excited for that session in particular.
It's going to be awesome. We got Ed Stulak. Is it Stulak? Is that right?
I think it's Stulak. Yeah, Stulak.
Stulak. I'll have to ask him. I'm probably yeah. Sorry, Ed. We'll call him Ed until he straightens me out.
There you go.
Feel free to. I'm from Arkansas. You know how we are. It's fine. And then we got David. David's doing a disruptor session as well.
Yeah, Bartolomucci with repairs.
Yeah, I like those guys. Those guys are cool.
Yeah, they're cool. What are they talking about? Building a brand.
Building a brand in a time of disruption in the food equipment industry.
Oh, nice. Yeah, all right, cool.
That's exactly what they're doing too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's exactly what they should be talking about.
Yeah, that's literally their bread and butter. Pardon the pun. Yeah, that's awesome. And then I'm excited about the whole conference, but I'll tell you, the 27th, I'm excited about, and Rich's already announced this, so I'm going to talk about it again. But Mark Schulman and the Rockstar Attitude, I'm very much looking forward to that. That's going to be like an awesome, like he apparently, I've looked up his videos and all this stuff already. Like I'm super excited. I'm excited about all of these speakers, but the fact that he uses his like music career as a talking point in a keynote, right? And talks about, and like, it's from a business perspective, right? And you hear about all these, hired guns, as they call them, these hired artists that, go on tour with these big names. And it's I think it's exciting to hear about that, right? Because, and he's currently the drummer for Pink, but if you look him up, right, he's actually been a drummer for several other artists, right? And Pink's an amazing artist, right? She's amazing vocalist, writes really amazing songs, right? She's the, the Billboard talent there. But she'll even tell you, right? Like, if you were able to talk to her, she's going to tell you that when she goes on tour, if her drummer and her guitarist and her bass player are not like on time with her, the show is junk, right? And that's everything we do, right? And,
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, I don't get to sit here and play drums. That would be amazing. But if my team's not, hitting the high notes and the low notes and on the rhythm, then we have a bad day. We have a bad project. And I'm looking forward to, this whole hacking the rock star attitude thing, because I think it's going to be a high energy presentation.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think the keynotes are going to be worth the ticket alone.
Yeah.
I think then the division session speakers like yourself and David are going to be, in my opinion, worth the ticket alone. And then we have these panels that are going to be these open discussions.
I'm super excited about the panels because I love hearing all the different perspectives. I got to lead a panel at the last Fed conference. So I spoke and I led a panel, which was great, but I'd rather be a spectator or even a panelist, because when you're leading the panel, for me, it's hard to absorb, a lot of that information, just because I'm up there in front of everybody.
Sure.
And I got a billion eyes on me. You're a sponge, so you're going to be up there just like don't even know that you have an audience behind you. You're just asking these great questions, which is what you do, right?
Yep.
Ask the best questions in the world. But I'm really excited about that because we get to hear all these different perspectives, on specific questions. So, really exciting.
It's going to be amazing because like you said, some of the keynote speakers, we all just get to go and watch, right? And on the speakers, we can all kind of watch and absorb it. But then with the panels, I mean, it's an open book, and you know how these discussions go, especially in our group, right? We might get through one or two questions. We might get through 20, but the value is going to be there, right? We might get through one or two questions that are just shattering. We might get through 20 that are top of the game question. It doesn't matter, right? We're going to get to all of those questions, in that time frame. And you're right. They're going to be amazing. And this was the conversation me and Rich had on our first recorded talk, right? Was we were talking about that, and people are like, you seem to know a lot about the industry. And I'm like, no, I know a lot of people. It's not so much that I know a lot about the industry, right? And maybe it is what one of my hidden talents is, answer out of people. The old, what is it? The old no man is an island kind of thing, right? Like we're here together, right? So why not use everyone's talents, to be sort of a shared effort, especially in this industry, especially in the pandemic. It's been so cool, right? Like Rich and the Fed Network and you, and like me and Dylan Taylor, right? Like we're hammering it up in Fed Network all the time because he's right next door in Texas, and we like to tease each other and all that stuff. And it's a good time, right? I get Jason Hartman. Did you see the logo he drew for me? The Fed logo he drew.
Yeah, man. The one with that was cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, we got all kinds of crazy stuff going on in here. And then, all this cool stuff's coming out of, this digital disruption type movement. So, and here we're on the forefront of it, right? Like it's happening today. So,
oh, absolutely. And I think that, I don't know if this is wrong to say. I don't really care. We all know how this podcast works, but I see the Fed group right? And the companies and the people within the Fed group and the people that come to, the Fed conference, I see us all as like, the ones spearheading the future of the industry, right? Just because of the nature and the topics of what the Fed group's about. How can this group of people not be the pioneers for this industry? I mean, we've all come together, for a shared cause and literally help each other talk and work into the future.
Yep. And that's the cool thing about it, right? Like we're the early adopters. We're the come on guys, let's get it done. And I'm excited about it. And I think if we can get the world opened back up again, right? I know we're dealing with another wave of it. They sent us home again, right? Which again, you've heard me whining about being in the office. I could really care less about being in the office. I just like going to the conferences and getting my work done. But like I'd love to get this back open again. Like Rich has even talked about, empowering, like you've done a bunch with Shannon, right, on empowering women in the trades, and like we need to, like I want to amp up that stuff as well, right? Like there's still a lot we can do with diversity and that kind of stuff as well, which I think would be like double amazing to what we've already kind of pushed out on this, right? Is really because all of that's out there, right? There's some just amazing people across the board, across the trades out there, and we need to highlight them, because your car starts in the morning, your coffee's made at Starbucks in the morning, your rotisserie chicken's hot and ready for you at Walmart in the afternoon, because somebody's working on that machine at some point, right? Like any way you stack it, somebody built or serviced that machine that you use in your everyday life. I know my lazy butt's not working on anything.
But that's the truth, man. That is the truth. And that's also why it's become white noise, and we've had this conversation in the past too. It's just, it's all over, so it's taken for granted. But believe me, I could go down that rabbit hole on a regular episode of this podcast. That's
a whole other podcast.
It's a whole other podcast. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get that third appearance, and we could talk about it then. But so turning back to the schedule a little bit, after that, right after Schulman, we've got looks like somebody from XOI Technologies is going to be speaking, which is awesome. Cool. Everybody out there knows how big of an advocate I am for XOI. And listen, I want to reiterate, you heard it at the beginning of the show, this podcast is not monetized. I don't have sponsorships. Right. I don't run ads, so anything that I talk about on the show, whether it's FeddCon or XOI, it's because I truly believe in it. It's not because I'm being paid to do it. So I just want to interject that a little bit, but
I can't take sponsors. We know that.
So, but XOI, I can't say enough good things about them. Just the platform itself, and we use it on a daily basis. I think that, the food service equipment industry in particular could benefit from this technology tenfold. And not only the service companies and the way that I use it, to mitigate risk and improve internal communication and stuff like that, but manufacturers, right, to cut down on this warranty, leakage that we see, with all of the expenditures and the costs because something wasn't properly installed, or you have Joe Schmo service company over here, working on it, and not an actual ASA, or you can document with video what was done, what wasn't. I mean, there's just, the applications are endless. So really excited about that session. I'm not sure who's going to be speaking.
Yeah. I think it doesn't say. I was thinking it was the guy, is his name Aaron?
Aaron, the CEO. I'm not sure. Let's put a little asterisk. Let's put a little asterisk by that, because we're not sure.
We'll let Rich announce that. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but, that'd be cool. But then you're up next too, right?
Oh yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. So another disruptor session, right? This one I'm really excited to talk about. And admittedly, this wasn't my idea. This was Lisa's idea. I'm gonna Lisa. Yeah. I'm gonna give that credit to her because I was like, hey, what should I speak on? And she very eloquently told me, hey, you have a very successful YouTube channel, but you don't have a ton of views. I'm like, okay, well, thanks, Lisa, but no, but she's right, and
that's like her senior millennial comment to me yesterday. It's like, yeah, you're not wrong. I see what you're getting at. That was her nice way of saying, oh, you don't know how to use technology, Taz. It's adorable, but let me help you.
Lisa, do we need to talk? Am I sensing some passive aggressiveness here? No, but I'm really excited because she makes a good point, right? I mean, for our industry, the food service industry, I've got like 10,000 subscribers. I've got a million overall views, at least a million overall views. But I've had this channel since 2013. Like it's almost been 10 years, since I've had this channel. So, what I'm going to preach here is about consistency and impact, right? Because there's a lot of people in the industry that know my content, that know my videos, not only, my podcast like they're listening to now, but my how-to videos on YouTube. That's really what I'm going to be, focusing on. There are a lot of people in this industry that know it, and I have helped a lot of people around the globe. Like seriously, from countries all over the place, reaching out with questions, because they don't have support in their country on certain pieces of equipment, and they see my videos, and so they reach out and say, hey, how can I do this? Or what do I do when this happens? And so the impact that I'm creating with the videos far outweighs, the number of views that I could have. Yep. And I think that people tend to forget that, right? Because when we talk about brands, when we talk about social media, whether it's in a form like this or at FeddCon or, just when Rich and I are talking or you and I are talking, it's easy for people to misconstrue and say, well, I don't know if I want to do that because I don't know if I'll get 50,000 views. It's not about the views. It's about the impact. The view count doesn't matter. Not the number of eyeballs, it's the quality of eyeballs. And so I've got a lot of insight on how you can best make that impact and where to focus that attention.
That's awesome. And that's really like a lot of, if you look in our industry, a lot of people that are truly successful at any part of it, they started chasing the right aspect of it. Right. And I've had that conversation with vendors before, right? I said, look, if you're after Walmart's money, like you're chasing the wrong thing, right? Like if you're after Walmart's business, the money's going to like the checks will come.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you need, right? And so, and Walmart's a difficult partner sometimes. I get it. Like we're a big partner. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to bite off sometimes. But if you approach it that way with any of that, you're right? Like it's not about the dollar bills. It's not about the views. It's about how can I be impactful and successful in this? And trust me, the loyalty comes right behind it.
Yes,
that will follow you a lot further and it will carry you a lot further. You went up 30% during the pandemic. Like I've seen a lot of businesses that folded, right? And they were the I know a guy kind of group, and it's sad. I'm not picking on them, right? Like I truly feel for them. I know a lot of businesses that folded during the pandemic, and it hurts me. I'm certainly not sitting here wishing that on anyone.
Right.
Because it's disheartening, right? To see people lose their jobs and have to, fight for something else and take less money. I get it, but stick with your compass, right? Versus trying to earn all that extra. And then I think that stuff comes easy then. If you actually have a core plan moving forward, it's easier to find that longevity and that like business sense, right? Yep. So it's the same with views, right? People are after views, and then they end up doing something silly that ends up being a completely negative cross to what they were trying to do.
Yep.
Right. I can look at all of your videos, I can look at all of your product, and I can never look at any of it and go, well, he was doing that for the views. Right. I mean, That's the thing, right? People are like, oh, he did that for the views. Now now it comes across as fake, and it's a whole different thing.
You should see, man. I rewatched some of my old videos, and I'm even thinking to myself, like, why would anyone watch this? it's because I took the informative route, right? And I'm not an actor. I do okay in front of a camera, but look, at heart, I'm a mechanic. I mean, that's what I did for a long time and that's what my YouTube videos show is how to fix things. So the entertainment value, I never really got down, but man, you're right. That impact is just, it's huge, and it can come in so many different forms, and that's what I want to talk about at FeddCon.
That's awesome. Yep. That is awesome.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll have to show you. I made a music video for a college class back in the 90s. So one of these days I'll have to see if I can find that music video and share that online. I think everybody get a kick out of that.
That'd be cool.
That was amusing. Back in the old VHS, I think it was SVHS maybe.
SVHS. Yeah. There you go. All right. Yep.
Back in the day, way back in the day.
That was the 90s version of high def, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was the in-between commercial and non-commercial grade video quality.
Nice. All right, moving back to the agenda. It looks like we got a couple of workshops that are going to be going down. Not announced yet, so I'll let Rich do that.
Yep.
I'm sure they're going to be awesome, though. Excited to be able to participate in some of that. And then that leaves us to your second panel, Taz.
Second panel there.
Manufacturer and service partnerships in 2022.
Yep. And that's the big thing. I'm pretty excited about this one too, because I want, like, a lot of the times as an FM, I'm able to bridge a gap sometimes where a service partner and a manufacturer aren't talking for some reason. And sometimes it's pride, sometimes it's miscommunication, sometimes, like, there's all kinds of, like, whatever. Like, let's throw it out the window and let's talk about it, right? I've had it come down to simply, this company says I can't do installs for, Walmart anymore for this much because Walmart wants it done during this certain time. But, the manufacturer says, nope, we're only paying, there's all these different, back and forth. Well, here's the deal. From my perspective, now I'm looking at it with open eyes because I understand what's going on in the background to a point. But if I was just a blank customer, right, if I didn't understand what was going on in the background, what I would see is a manufacturer that doesn't want to cover warranty and a service provider that doesn't want to come out to my store, right? And so that looks like, you talk about a digital image or you talk about an image period, that looks bad across the board on both of them, right? And so I think it's worth having the conversation. And at some point, I think warranty conversations with manufacturers are going to have to be talked about again. And maybe it even, and I've talked about this before. I don't know if you remember or not. We joke about it a lot at Walmart. So used to, if you bought a TV from Walmart, you could pretty much bring it back within a couple of years in any condition, and Walmart would give you the money back for the TV, right? They didn't even care if it plugged in or not. Well, there was a point about 7 or 8 years ago where now you have like a 30-day or 60. I forget the rules behind it, right? But now you have a small window to bring that electronics back, right? And then also, like you used to buy it, if you remember Magnavox, right? That was a big TV name, right? I remember being a truck unloader at Store 58 in Russellville, Arkansas in 1995, right? And for Christmas that year, for $1,968, you could get a 35-inch cathode ray tube TV. I remember, and the reason I remember these things is they were like 112 pounds. I'm not even kidding you, right? And it's all glass, right? So 100 pounds of that is on the left side of this box, and 12 pounds is on the right side of this giant box. And so, but if you dropped it on the way out to your car, it's fine. Walmart give you another one, right? We'd send it back to Magnavox. Magnavox send another one. Now you have to buy a warranty before you walk out the door. If you walk out the door without buying a warranty, I'm sorry. And a lot of people are like, I'm not buying a warranty. I haven't needed a warranty on a TV in 40 years. Okay. as a consumer, that's your risk. And I'm afraid we might be approaching a point in the future where that's a reality. And does it make sense? Maybe it does, right? I had a guy today arguing with me about light bulbs being covered under warranty for a hot case, right? I'm like, that's not warranty. And they're like, well, the case is 6 months old. And I'm like, it's a light bulb though. That's not warranty. It's not warranty. Why is it not warranty? And I'm like, it's a light bulb.
It's a light bulb.
It's a wearable, like it's a wearable part. Right? I'm having this conversation, or well, they dropped it. This case is 2 months old. They dropped the door and broke it. Is that they don't want to cover it under warranty? And I'm like, yeah, they dropped it and broke it. Right. I mean,
yeah,
I get it. If you're standing across the room and the thing just all of a sudden shatters, right? Most manufacturers are going to go, there must have been a flaw in that. Let me send you another one, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to damage my brand, but no, you dropped it. Sorry. I mean, I can send you another one for $497 plus freight, but
yep.
But these are the conversations I have, and I'm excited about that though, right? But we need to start having those conversations because service is not getting, Rich was joking about this the other week, but he's not wrong, right? Yesterday's price is like today's price is not yesterday's price.
Yep.
And I get it. The manufacturers are like if you look, their oven prices haven't gone up over the last 10 years a huge amount, right? But they're now trying to cover like service costs have. I know in 2014, I can tell you the average rate I was paying across the country was around, I want to say it was somewhere, I would say around 60 an hour. And that's across the country, right? Including adding in California and New York, which is always like a higher rate.
Yeah.
Now, gosh, we're somewhere 120, 130 across the board.
Yeah.
And
it's happened fast, right? I mean, in less than 10 years, I'd say probably closer to the last 5 with an emphasis on the last year.
Yeah. And I've watched ovens from big and little manufacturers both go up 1%, 2% a year, something like that. But they're still trying to cover the same warranty. And so that the conversation is going to happen. And, and I know some people are like, well, the customer's going to lose out on that. And I'm like, are we though? I mean, we are and we aren't. At some point the customer's going to have to break down and understand, like, you need to stop having a conversation about if a light bulb's covered under warranty. Just change the damn light bulb and move on with life. Right. You know what I mean? If your case is 2 months old and you turn it on, it makes a loud pop out of nowhere. Yeah. Call the manufacturer and have them honor the warranty. Right. Mm-hmm. But if your knucklehead line cook is throwing pans around because he's upset, I'm sorry.
Yep.
It sucks.
There needs to be a bigger emphasis on personal responsibility, right? And what that means in this industry, and because you're right, this stuff happens all the time. I remember a warranty call that I did years ago when I was still in the field. That it was a range oven. I think it was an Imperial range oven, and somebody said the door broke. The door flips down like this. The door. Well, how did it break? Well, I was standing on it. Well, you were what? That's not a stool. That's a door. And then, I saw somebody at the trade show or on the website or whatever was standing on it to show how strong it was. I was like, well, okay, I get that, but also you have to think about things and understand that it's an oven and not a stool. Please,
Ford also shows a commercial of them and their new F-150 like ramping off sand dunes at 120 miles an hour. I don't recommend you doing that either. Because here's the deal. When you rip the entire front end of your F-150 off that now costs $75,000, they're not paying for that either.
No.
You are.
No.
And guess what? Your insurance company probably won't pay for that either.
Probably
you did
not.
What? you did what? You did what?
Yeah. I get it, man. It's a conversation that has to be had, and I'm really glad that you're going to be the one leading it because I'm super excited, and I think that that's one of those things, Taz, that can spin and spawn from the Fed conference, into bigger conversations. And that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Because I can tell you from a customer perspective, if you need more now to install ovens than you did last year, that's fine. If you're telling me that at the front of the conversation, okay. Because a customer, especially a customer like myself, like I a lot of times am given a lump of money, X amount, right? And they're like, how many ovens can we put in? So I have to go and ask. I'm like, what's ovens cost me today? And they're like this. What's installs cost me today? And they're like this. And I'm like, okay, that's this much divided by the amount you gave me. I can do 100, right? I can do 150, whatever that number is. And that's what I go to, to the committee with, right? And so if on the back end of it, I'm 75 in and installs are costing me 3 times as much, I'm upset now, as I have a right to be. You weren't honest up front that it was going to cost me more. But then also, like, now I have to, like, I'm in trouble now because they're like, you said 150. Why did you get to 75 and have to stop? Right. So now that, everybody kind of gets pinned on that stuff, where if you told me that up front, that no, that much is only going to get you 75 ovens. Guess what? I'm going to the committee with. I got 75 for you this year, guys. And they're like, cool, we put you down for 75. I'm like, awesome. Right. And I turn around to everybody and I start cutting POs and I'm like, let's do this 75. Right. If you guys can do it really good, I bet I can talk them into 100 next year. How does that sound, folks? Right. Like,
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's got to be up front. And I've started convincing a lot. I've over the years started convincing a lot of partners to be honest and up front, and they will now. They'll actually call me out of the blue and they're like, hey, I hate to be this guy, but I think we're going to have to increase our rates a little bit. I'm like, cool. What are we talking? And, usually they're like, oh, we're thinking, like, we've really put the pencil down. It's going to be about $2 or $3 an hour more. And I'm like, okay, all right, send that to me in a spreadsheet and I'll throw it in. Like, and I think a lot of times they're shocked that I'm not just like, oh, really? I don't think I can give you $3 an hour. Like, I don't like, that's the new rate. Okay. Like, if you're going to keep, like, if you're a good partner, I'm not arguing with you.
That's it. Right? And that's what it boils down to. Right. And I think that's what's got to transfer between everybody too, is, that trust. And what I like to say, I tell this to my team all the time, right, is it's not anybody else's job to trust us. It's our job to let them know that they can.
Yep.
Yep.
Agreed.
So,
yep.
But anyway, we're running short on time here. I think that that agenda sounds super awesome. Of course, at the end, Rich is going to close it out, put a little bow on top, and give his keynote about digital disruption as a whole and managing.
I need to find an air horn for that.
Oh, yeah, an air horn and anything that makes noise, But no, super, super excited. And, if anybody out there wants to come to FeddCon, you know where to go. But just in case you don't, it's feddcon.com. That's feddcon.com. And click on tickets, I believe. Is that the link?
Yep.
Tickets?
Yep.
Yeah, get your tickets. It's going to be a blast. And believe me, you don't want to miss it. That's some major FOMO right there. Like I said, these are the pioneers of the industry, all congregating in one spot, talking about how to push this industry forward.
Because we're gonna be showing videos the whole 2 days. Y'all are gonna be sitting on your couch going, man, I could have had that.
And not the good parts either.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to miss out on all the, that's the thing. These are great speeches. These are great discussions and great panels, but you know how it works too. Those are great things, but you know how conversations start over a cocktail too. So, I mean,
that's it.
Are you going to miss out on that? It's up to you. It's all on the audience now. Who's coming?
Yeah. Right? And also if you don't go, you're dead to me. So, yeah. So, if you want that on your conscience, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah. You can't listen to the podcast anymore or anything. You're just done. You're done.
You're banned from the podcast. Oh man. All right. Any final thoughts, Taz, before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good. I think we talked about a ton of stuff. I'm excited. I'm super amped up about this. I'm excited that Walmart's coming. Like we got a couple of people from Walmart, including myself coming. So it's going to be cool. Like I said, I got that new person coming. So I'm I get to kind of introduce them to the food industry world, hopefully, and kind of, onboarding and really excited about, bringing stuff. So it's going to be amazing.
It'll be amazing.
So
That's awesome. All right. From Mid-Fed and Fed West region leaders, thank you for listening, and we will see you at FeddCon 2022.